Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. It is Erica with Holy Rustic and Redheaded Princess Designs, and I am here to paint this month's Wagon Club with you. Real quick, I wanted to show you, we did this on Monday. It's our BOGO for the month, this adorable interchangeable goose. So if you've been like me and you've been wanting a porch goose, this is the perfect kit. So you can buy one, get one free. You put two of them in your cart. You use the code SILLYGOOSE, all one word, and you will buy one, get one free of our patriotic goose. You can choose the entire kit or just the patriotic insert or just the goose. We're going to have other kits that are going to go with it. So it's going to be super cool. But I wanted to show you now that it's dry, kind of how everything goes together. And if you go to paint this and you watch the video that we did on Monday, watch the entire video before you glue your pieces together, because there were some revelations that were made along the way of how to glue things together. So here's his little hat, and it just slides in and out here at the top. So cute. And then he is holding these cute little fireworks, which just slide in and out of the little pocket on the front here with his wings. We've got our little basket with the fireworks, and these just pop in and out. Mine are really tight because I put extra glue in there. And then you have your little ladder piece where your sign hangs. And while we were painting the other day, I said, I don't know what these pieces are for. And then after I got done, I thought, they're to hold the sign on the ladder. So you're going to position them a little bit further apart so that one of these rungs sits in between these two little pieces. So you have a bigger one and a smaller one, and then this just plops on there. I still think I would put a little bit of Velcro on this because while it's on there, it's not, I don't know, it's pretty stable, I guess. So you could decide if you want a Velcro or not. But that's what those pieces are for, so don't throw those away either. This was a whole learning experience, as it is sometimes when I'm putting things together. But so stinking adorable. And we have a summer one already. And then I'm already planning out the August BOGO because I'm going to be on vacation that first week of July. Not the August BOGO, the July BOGO. I'm going to be on vacation that first week of July. So the August BOGO, I'm just going to pick one. We usually do voting, but we're not going to do that for July since I'm going to be out of town. But how stinking adorable is this? I just love all the interchangeable pieces. So cute. So just wanted to go over that. That's what that looks like on the back. And all I did was lay my little ladder. Whoop, there we go. Lay the little ladder piece down and then just glue these on, and then just make sure to remove that so you don't accidentally glue that to there, and they just pop in here. I do think I will glue the bases into the stand because you can see they kind of lean a little bit. So if I glue them in, then they won't do that little weeble wobble. So stinking cute. I can't wait to put this out because I think it is the most adorable thing in the world, and I absolutely love it. All right, so let's look at this month's Wagon Club. I'm gonna set all this to the side. I just put that glue on there, so I don't want to leave it put up because it will glue them in there. So our Wagon Club is one of our DIY of the month clubs. We have a tier tray club, a Wagon Club, and a DIY kit of the month club. So this is our Wagon Club. This is our wagon. Mine is missing its handle. I have no idea where it is. It's around here somewhere, but this is the wagon for your interchangeable pieces. It makes for a fun little gift for yourself each month. It's a surprise. The kit is exclusive to the Wagon Club, so it's not one you can find on the website. And you get a 20% off coupon each month as well that you can use on any other wagon items on our website. We also have a shelf that you can use if you don't love the wagon. There is a shelf that all the pieces can fit in as well. And this month, we are all about the red, white, and blue. So let me open this up. I should have done that before I went live. I always forget. And I hate that crinkle, crinkle plastic sound. So bear with me for just a second. Okay. That's done. Perfect. So here's our Wagon Club. I'm going to switch my cameras here. Come in, say hey, let me know how your day is going, how your summer is going. When you open up your Wagon Club, be cautious. There are lots and lots of stars, and we actually included even some extra stars for you that you may or may not use. It's totally up to you what you want to do with those. So I'm going to just flip over. I've got my picture over here because I did not have one printed out. We're going to get started. So come in, say hey. If you have any questions about the Wagon Club or the BOGO or anything, let me know. I will give you a little hint and tell you that you should get your shopping carts ready because, like I said, I am going on vacation the end of July, so end of June, in just a couple weeks, and we'll be gone through that first week of July. So we are going to do a Christmas in July sale early because when I get back, I have art camp and then it will be time for school to start back again, which is bananas, but that's where we're at. I feel like summer just flies by. So we will be having a Christmas in July in June sale very, very soon, and it's going to be an amazing deal. It's one of our best sales of the whole year. Between that and Black Friday, those are our two best sales of the entire year, so you're not going to want to miss it. So make sure you're subscribed to our emails. Make sure that you have your shopping cart loaded up and ready to go because I promise you it's going to be worth it. With that being said, depending upon how the sale goes over, your kits may be delayed until that second week of July, just depending. I'm going to do my best. That's why we're doing it a little bit early. I'm going to do my best to keep up and get everything shipped out before we leave for vacation. But I do also have a couple of classes in there. And then, of course, regular life. Why are we up? There we are. It keeps freezing and I don't know why. And I could maybe change that, but I'm afraid it will really mess things up. Okay, so I'm just painting the square piece here. I don't know why we're freezing like that. Hang on just a second, y'all. Let's try this and see if that helps. Because I don't know if it's freezing on your end, but I keep looking up here and it is frozen. And it is still freezing. Okay, hang on. We're going to try one more thing. Let's try this and hopefully it doesn't severely mess us up. Okay, we might be good now. There's a little bit of a delay, but I think it'll be all right. So I painted nope. Yeah. Let me know if you're watching if you are having any issues because I'm seeing it freezing on my computer, but I don't know if that's what it's doing on the video as well. We have to go out and come back. I don't want to paint this and you guys not be able to see it. All right, so here's the square sign that is going to go in our wagon. I've just given it a base coat of white. That's all I need to do to that. This is the sign that goes on the front of your wagon. I'm going to keep going unless somebody tells me otherwise that there are issues. This is going to be painted red. So not many colors in this kit. Red, white, blue, and a little bit of yellow. And of course, as soon as I decide to go live, the neighbor decides to mow their grass. So hopefully that's not too terribly loud for you, and I apologize if it is. Summer means that I am going live later in the day because I have been trying to get out to the shop and run the lasers earlier in the mornings before it gets ungodly hot out there because we do not have air conditioning out there. So when it is hot outside, it's even hotter in the workshop. Okay, so we've got that red, and then we have our star here. We're going to do this in the blue. Rinse all that red out of my brush. Last night we had a class at Chevelle's Pizzeria here in Sellersburg. Tonight I am at Hunter Station for our kids' baby axolotl class, which is sold out and has been sold out for a while. But we do have our other kids class for summer already up on the website. So you can go check that out. It is a cute little narwhal. I just love narwhals. I think they're adorable. All right, I'm going to do the outside of this star in brown, which is the one color I forgot to put on my plate here. So we're going to grab just a little bit of that, and we're going to use our sponge to paint that. Coming up, we have some we have a doormat class, what else do we have? Doormats. We have a door hanger, a camping door hanger class. And what else is going on this month? A watermelon shelf setter or door hanger, your choice. So all of those classes are coming up this month before I leave for vacation. So I am excited about going on vacation, and I know some people are probably like, you go all the time, but I'm ready for, I've taken several business trips this year, but I have not taken a vacation. So I am ready for a vacation. Hello, Opal. How are you? You still in sunny Florida? Right, I'm going to clip that sponge again. And I'm going to grab some white. We're going to paint the word America here. And just paint that guy up. Opal, did it kick you back off again? She was having trouble the other day, and it may be the platform, and I don't know why. It was looking slightly glitchy earlier, but it looks like it's calmed down now. So I'm hoping that it's working correctly. All right, so we're just giving this a little base coat of white. I'm using my makeup sponge. All of our kits include a makeup sponge. It's great for painting your letters. That way you're not taking the paintbrush and pushing a bunch of paint down in here. And I'm using the rectangle end of the sponge. Just a little bit of paint on there. You don't want very much. I kind of offload it over on the side. So I use my table, but you could use a little piece of foil or the plate, whatever works for you. And then I just tap up and down with that sponge. So that way I'm not pushing the paint down in between the letters, and I get a nice coverage of the white that way. Just left the beach. How fun. You're coming home tomorrow? Awesome. Are you ready to be home? I got dropped a little bit of blue on that, so I'm just going to touch that up with some red. Okay, we have our little Nomi guy here. So, actually, let's see. Okay, we're going to do this, and we're going to do our gnome's hat, and we're going to paint, and his beard. We're going to paint all that white. So just like when we did the goose the other day, when you're doing like the stripes and stuff on your patriotic stuff, it's going to be easier to put your white down first and then add in your colors for your stripes. So we're going to do a base of white on there, and white usually does need 2 coats. So we do a quick coat here, and then we'll come back and do a second coat because it's going to need it. And there's that. And then here's our little gnome's beard, and we'll just paint that up real quick. I cannot believe how fast summer is flying by. Ready to be home, back to work on Saturday. I feel like summer's just, and it always goes fast, but it's going very, very quickly. I always have all these grand plans in the summer to like try to catch up and do all these things, and it just, I don't know who I'm kidding because it doesn't happen. All right. So we're just coming back over with another coat of white. See how that next coat, and it's not as easy to see there on the camera, but here in front of me I can see how thin that first coat was, and that next coat really just makes that white pop so well. All right, so there's his little beard, and then our little firecracker. Just worried about that middle part right now where we're going to put our stripes. There's that, and our little gnome's hat. And we'll let all of that have a second to dry. So if you're just joining us, this is this month's Wagon Club kit. Anytime you join one of our clubs, you are going to get that month's box, which are exclusive to the club. And then all of our clubs also include a coupon. So the Wagon and the Tier Take Club come with a 20% off coupon that you can use on any of the corresponding items in the shop. All right, so we need some, oh, I was looking to see what else was white. So I don't think anything else is white. So let's grab our, we're going to do Sweet Land of Liberty on this sign here. And we're going to do Land of in red and Sweet and Liberty in blue. So we're going to clip our sponge again. And I use these sponges until like there's nothing left to hold on to. I'm going to clip it. I have a tiny little bit. We're going to do these in red. Dip our sponge, offload, and just tap, tap, tap with that sponge. So there is the word land, and here is our of. There we go. Adorable. I need another sponge, and I don't know if I have one in here. Let's see. I do. Perfect. We'll clip that guide. I just leave them all over my table here, and then when I need one, hopefully there's one here. All right, and then we have Sweet and Liberty. These are blue. So we're going to paint them with our blue. There we go. And Liberty, we'll do that one in blue as well. And I think our guys' pants are blue. They sure are. So we're going to paint these up with our blue. Perfect. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of black. Let's just see, is there anything else we need to paint blue before maybe a couple of stars. Let's do, I've got two of the ofs here. Okay, let's do a couple stars with the blue. So I sent you extra stars because this guy here, I changed this one here has all these little cutouts. And so I just scooped up as many as I could off of the laser as they were coming off and put them in the kits. That way, if you wanted to use them, you could. But so when you open your kit and you've got all these extra stars, don't panic. It's totally okay. We planned it that way. All right. Just painting a couple of these. I think, oh, yep, those are blue. So let's do this guy. Ooh, stay there. And this guy. So I did the big one and two medium ones. Those go on the front of the wagon sign. And then I think we'll do the rest in yellow. So now I'm going to take this blue on my sponge. I'm going to grab the tiniest bit of black paint on the side of my sponge here. And I'm going to take that all the way around the edge here. So I'm just barely tapping just to give us a little bit of a shadow there. And then down here at the bottom, we're going to paint his little shoes. And I could do this with a brush, but I think I can manage it with my sponge. Just kind of coming across there to give him some little feet. Okay, so just a hint of a shadow. I want to add a little shadow to our beard as well. This is probably a really bad idea. Yeah, let's not do that. Let's cut it. It's got blue on it, so I don't want to turn his beard blue. So we're gonna pick up a tiny bit of black on that clean sponge, and I'm gonna come right around the edge of our beard and just tap a little bit of that black right on the edge of his beard. And then we'll take the sponge, kind of get most of that off. I'll pick up white on the other side. Remember, we're going to offload. And then I'll just come in with that white and just kind of soften any weird lines that I have going on there. This is obviously a little extra and totally not necessary, but it does just give it a little more dimension and texture. Let's make it a little more interesting. All right, there is his beard. I'm just kind of dragging that sponge a little bit. It got a little more gray than I wanted it to, but I think it's fine. I can come back and brush more white on there. Let's do that. Let's just dry that. It got a little gray here in the middle. So I'm going to take a round brush. This is a small round. And I'm going to pick up straight white, and I'm going to come in and just do some swipes, almost like little hairs on my gnome's beard. This would look perfectly fine if you just painted the whole thing plain white. But sometimes I don't know when to stop. Okay, so I know that's hard to see. There we go. That's what our little beard is looking like. We need some skin colors. So I also forgot to pull that out. Let's see what we got here on the shelf. That is textured. I don't really want that. Dude. I don't think I have skin color in here. We'll use this coral and I'll add a little white to it. Maybe. There we go. So we just need to paint his hands and his nose. So there are 3 ovals here that we're going to paint. And I'm just going to add a little bit of white to that coral that I picked up and paint these. It would be way easier to do with a sponge. So we'll clip that sponge again and just pick that up. Yeah, there we go. I feel like this sponge gives you a much better coverage as well when you're painting with the sponge versus the brush on these wood pieces. All right, so we've got 2 hands and a nose. And there they are. We'll give those a quick dry. Okay, I need to do the bottom of our firecracker here. So I'm going to take my black and paint the tail. And then I'm going to take a little bit of brown and paint the stick part here. And then the top of this firecracker is going to be red. So we'll grab that red on our brush and paint that in. I could probably use a bigger brush, but this is the one I have in my hand, so we're going with it. And I'm just following that etched line there and painting in the top of our firecracker. Perfect. Okay, we need to do our yellow stars and the little burst here that goes at the bottom of the firework. So I'm just going to do all these guys in yellow. So grab my sponge, tap it off, and paint these. Yellow tends to be pretty transparent or translucent. I don't know if there's a difference in those two words. I feel like they mean the same thing, but I could be wrong. So if you add a tiny bit of white to your yellow, it will pop a little bit more. Or you can just do multiple coats, whichever you prefer. I like this nice bright yellow. I think it contrasts really well with the orange, red, and blue, not orange. So I'm not going to add white because it would really dull this down, and I don't want like a pastel yellow. So we're just going to do 2 coats. So pick up a little more yellow and come in and just give these guys a second coat. Another little trick, if you have painter's tape, I don't know that I have any up here. Don't see any. You can lay a piece of tape down and tape these down, and then you don't have to worry about getting paint all over your fingers. It makes life a little bit easier when you're painting these tiny little pieces. Painted both sides of that star. There we go. Oop. One more. All right, perfect. These guys look pretty good. Somehow we picked up blue. Okay, now they're fine. So all we have left to do is our stripes, and then we can glue it all together and put it in our wagon. So for our firecracker here, we're going to do blue stripes. I think I want the stripe next to the red top to be white. So I'm going to skip that one and come down and do this stripe in blue. And your etched lines are pretty helpful. If you just go nice and slow, right up next to them, the paint almost just fills right into the lines. It's kind of like magic. So just take that brush and I just go right up next to that etched line, and the paint just kind of floods right to that spot, and then it stops. As long as you don't want big glops of paint on your brush, but just enough to kind of fill in the space. And if you get a little crazy and yours isn't exactly on the line, nobody's going to know because they're not going to look that close. The etched lines disappear as you kind of paint. So there we go. Especially when you're using the brush, because the brush really fills in those lines. All right, should we add highlights to these? I feel like we should. So I just wiped my brush off. I don't have any more paint on there. I'm going to pick up the tiniest bit of white on my brush, and right down the middle of these stripes, I'm just going to do a little line of white and then quickly wipe my brush off and come back and just blend that by just going back and forth over top of it. I don't want to pull it too much in one direction or the other because I want the highlight to be right in the middle. There we go. So see how that just gave us a nice little highlight there? Easy peasy way to do a little highlight, and it's nothing extreme, but it does give us just a little something extra. All right, our little gnome's hat, we're going to do red and white stripes on here. I'm going to start with the red stripes down at the bottom of the hat and work my way up to the top. I'm using that same round brush. So if you don't have a ton of paint brushes, it's okay because you could do everything with one brush. You don't necessarily need a million brushes. Get you one decent round brush, a good flat brush, and maybe a liner brush, and you're good to go. And you could probably do with even less than that, but those 3 brushes would be the 3 brushes that I would recommend. And little brush technology for you. Round brushes just mean that they're round here. This is the ferrule of your paintbrush, this part here that holds the actual brush bristles. So the round part is called the ferrule. So if it's a round brush, it just means that this part here is round. On your flat brushes, that part is going to be crimped. See how that's crimped there? And your bristles will be flat. And then a liner brush is kind of like a round brush, but it's just super, super skinny. And it's going to be great for doing tiny little details. So there's your little brush tips for the day. And here's what I will say. I was at Michael's the other day and they had some brushes on clearance and they were still really expensive. They were expensive brushes. They were like, I don't know, $50 brushes. And there was like 2 or 3 in the pack. And they were still like $30. You do not need expensive paintbrushes for this kind of painting. I don't know that you need expensive paintbrushes for any kind of painting, but for this kind of painting, you definitely don't need expensive paintbrushes. Some of my favorite brushes, this brush that we've been using today, this is, I want to make sure I tell you right. Yeah, this is a kid's paintbrush from Walmart. I love it because it's small. It has, the bristles are really nice. This is another one of my favorite brushes that comes from Walmart. It has a triangle handle and it's sparkly, which is just so fun. They're called Hello Hobby, but these are in the kids section at Walmart. They're great paintbrushes. I love them. And you can get a whole pack of different kinds of brushes for like $4 or $5. So don't feel like you have to spend $1 million on paintbrushes because you certainly do not. Find some that work for you and just use them because you don't need super expensive paintbrushes. All right, I think we've got everything painted. All of our kits are going to include a tube of E6000, not a giant tube like this, but a small tube of E6000 or some similar glue. We have had some issues lately getting E6000 in stock, and so we have also sent out B600, which is just kind of like the off-brand of E6000. Works just the same. If you've never used E6000 glue before, it is not a quick dry glue. It has about a 24-hour dry time, so you want to make sure you let everything lay flat before you set it up. But I like it because it does give you a chance if you need to kind of wiggle things around, you can. You don't need very much glue, just a dot, not a lot will do ya. You don't want it seeping out from underneath of your piece. This is a very strong glue, so it's going to have a nice hold once it dries, even if you don't put gobs and gobs of it on there. And trust me, you don't need gobs and gobs. Okay, so we've got Sweet Land of Liberty here on this little white sign, and I think I'll throw some of my stars on there, but I'm going to kind of glue everything down and then see what I have as stars. Let's see if there's any in the original. There is. There's 2 yellow stars on this in the original. So we'll go ahead and put those on. 1, 2. We're going to put them right next to the of. And I'm going to do yellow stars. We're going to do this medium-ish small size. Just like that. That is so cute. All right. Set that over there. Then we have the front of our wagon. So all of your wagons have a front that hangs on the front there with your little hooks. And I did not put any hooks in this kit, but you should have some from previous kits if you've gotten our Wagon Club. Occasionally I throw them in there because I know that they get lost and things, but we don't send them all the time. All right, and then we're going to put our blue stars on here with our America. So I'm going to do bigger one. Probably should do them like this. And then we'll do 1 on each side. Spin them around. I don't think this one is the exact same size, but that's okay. Does that look really silly with those 3 different size stars? Maybe we could use this one, or we could switch this one out. Remember, I said you have extra stars in your box, so you know, you can use these however you want. All right, we'll set those over there for now. So there's that. Our little firework here gets a star on the top, and then the little starburst goes on the bottom. So it goes down here on the tail, and then a little star here in the middle. Actually, I think it's it's a medium-ish size star. We'll put this one on here. Perfect. And then our little gnome guy. Oh, let's do this big star first. This one's pretty easy. You're just gluing the frame to this piece. Easy peasy. There we go. And then our little gnomey guy. So he gets his beard, which kind of goes, there's a little etched line here. You can see where I stopped painting. That's where your beard's going to go. And then his hat sits on the top of that line, just like so. And then he gets a little nose. He's going to get a big star here in the middle, this big old yellow guy. There's his little nose, which goes right up next to his hat. He needs 2 hands to hold this star. So here's 1. There's 2. And then we can use the rest of our stars to kind of decorate his hat. And glue is going everywhere. So I'm just gonna put a couple little blobs of glue on here. And I'm gonna throw some of these yellow stars on his hat. Oop. What color is this guy? This one's blue. We'll put that one on the end. That's one of those extra stars that I had. And then I still have 3 blue stars. So let's see where we want to put those. I might put one there. That looks kind of cute. So now we're ad-libbing here. My glue's dripping everywhere. This guy is going to be a little heavy because that piece for the back is not 100% solid there. So you may have to set something on top right here to hold that down until it dries completely. So just be aware of that. I'm going to put 2 drops of glue there, and then I'm going to put the lid on this so that it quits going everywhere. Okay, and I'm going to do 1 little star there, and I'm going to put 1 little star there. Just for funsies. So that's how I used up my extra stars. You could use them however you want. I still have some super tiny baby ones over here that I didn't even use. That is fine. Let's do some little details. So we're going to grab a tiny brush. This is where having one of those little liner brushes would come in handy. And let's see. I'm going to do some swipes and dots on my stars up here. Just a couple little swipes, and then we'll do a couple dots with the end of our brush as well. I think the end of this brush has seen better days. That's okay. All right, and then let's just throw a couple little fun dots on our America. Cute. So there is that piece. Set him up there. We need to add some fun details to this guy. So we'll do a little swipe and some dots. And maybe a swipe up, like a little highlight. And then I think that's all I'm really going to do. I might do a few little swipes on our gnome. And I think we'll call it a day. Maybe a little highlight on his nose. Whoop. And his little hands. and his little star. I call these highlights, but I am really not concerned about them being directionally correct. They're really more to just kind of draw your eye around your pieces and just make things a little more interesting. So I'm not sitting over here stressing about what direction the light is coming from or any of that stuff. I'm just putting them wherever makes my heart happy. And that's what I always tell my painters during class and stuff. Just put them wherever. We're not doing super technical paintings here. This is more about just having fun and enjoying the process. Here's what I will say. Sometimes life gets real lifey, and it's so nice to just sit down and enjoy painting for 30 to 40 minutes and not stress about all the craziness that happens in life, right? I'm going to give everything a quick dry, and then we'll put it in the wagon so you can see what it looks like. Remember, with our E6000 glue, we're going to let all of this lay flat for 24 hours before we set it up, because in about 30 minutes, this glue is going to seem like it's set, but I promise you it is not. And if you walk away and come back, everything's going to have moved on you, and you're going to be sad. So don't do that. Let everything lay on your table or wherever for 24 hours before you go and put it up. That way you don't run the risk of it moving on you, because that is the worst. Ask me how I know. All right. So this is, just to recap, this is this month's Wagon Club. You can grab your kit on our website at holyrustic.com. If you order any of our club boxes, our Wagon Club, our Tier Tray Club, or our DIY Club, you will get that month's kit. They are exclusive to the club. So you can go on and grab that. You're going to get the kit, all of your paint, a photo that you can look at to reference as you're painting. You are going to get a 20% off coupon that you can use on any of the Wagon Club items. So it is a great deal, and it's all delivered to your door for you. You're waiting for yours. You're not even home, Opal. Usually our club kits start shipping on the 15th of each month. I will say, for those people whose payments have already processed, their Wagon Clubs have already gone out the door. And I have the rest of them sitting, waiting for you. All right, I think everything's fairly dry. Some of my dots and stuff are still a little wet, but I just want to kind of show you what this is going to look like. So here's our wagon. Let's just switch these. There we go. All right, here's our wagon. And I keep some brown crumpled up paper in the bottom. It just kind of helps give everything a little bit more height, so it's not falling down in the bottom of my wagon. So here's our little signs. I'm not going to move them around too much. I'll probably just set this guy beside my wagon. And then we've got our star and our little firework. And I'll throw my little gnome on the floor. Did he move? I think he stayed in where he was supposed to. Okay. And then this little sign hangs on the front with your little hooks. See, this is why everything has to set and dry. But anywho, so you get the general idea. There is this month's Wagon Club. When you paint yours, please post a picture for us in our Facebook group. It is Holy Rustic Craft Kits. It's a free group here on Facebook that you can join and show off your pieces. So fun. I absolutely love this. It's going to look so cute sitting on our mantle for the 4th of July. So I hope that you're having an amazing Wednesday. I will be back, if not Friday, I'll be back next week to paint our Tier Tray Club kit with you. And then don't forget, our Christmas in July in June sale is coming up very soon, and you're not going to want to miss that. So if you're not on our email list already, go get on the email list so that you don't miss out on that sale, because it is one of the best sales that we do all year long. And just know your order might be delayed until I get back from vacation, but We'll just see. I'm hoping to drive straight through and be home tomorrow night. Yay! Awesome. Well, safe travels, Opal. Get home so you can paint something. And I guess go to work on Saturday. So you had to work on Saturday, but in between work you can paint, right? I hope you're having a great week, y'all. Take care, and I will talk to you real soon. Bye, y'all.